You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral HouseCalls. Excited to be with you here today on our second house call of the weekend, where we are checking in with our community. We're seeing what they've written in for questions over the past, well, it goes back to the beginning of December right now, so it's been a couple months back. And what we're doing is we're simply taking all of the questions in as they come in one at a time, first come, first served. And we're answering those questions from literally all around the world. We had some great questions yesterday. I do hope that you tuned in. That was episode 1114. So stephencabral.com, 1114. That was yesterday's episode. And really great questions. So a couple of them, I just simply linked back to where you can find all of your answers, or at least most of your answers, which is stephencabral.com/podcast. That's where all of the podcasts live. Every single page, as well as a nice little search bar, so that if you type in a keyword such as achalasia or Huntington's or rheumatoid or Hashimoto's, you will find the podcasts that I've done on those specific topics. So definitely, use that as a resource. You can always ask your questions on a daily basis, not wait the 10 to 12 weeks or so for me to answer them on the weekends, just because that's how long the queue is right now. But you can ask them right at cabralsupportgroup.com. That's our free Facebook group. If you don't have a Facebook page, you can do what I do and not even use your personal account, because I couldn't even tell you the last time I looked at my personal Facebook page. However, I absolutely do use all of our private groups. So you can simply do what I do and use it for the private groups, and you can chat with like-minded people from all around the world. It's pretty amazing. So we have our community group at cabralsupportgroup.com. Totally free to join, nothing to sign up for. It's just Facebook. You can just join the group. We love positive people. We're here to help, and we love when people support other people. So, don't just ask your question. Hang around, talk to other people in the group, and show them your support too, so that there's give and take, and there's that reciprocity where people will help you. They'll answer your questions. You'll answer theirs. It's a really nice group. And then, of course, we have our private integrative health practitioner groups for those people that have signed up for IHP. All right, so yesterday we had questions on Huntington's. We had questions on hormone and lab testing, SIBO protocols, Candida protocols, blood lab work. We had questions on using vitamins and minerals for long-term use and how much. We had questions on vitamin C and collagen use. We had questions on the FODMAP diet. And then we had a really long question on, what to do when you have so many things wrong. We talked about that. And did we go through any others? Yes, we went through just a recap, kind of a quick recap of where to look for that information on the keto diet. And then we also went over high blood pressure, renal-based disease. Okay, so we have new questions today. Looking forward to getting into them. The first one is coming in from Michel or Michel or Michael. It's Michel on podcast episode 977. Dr. Cabral mentioned when he starts to feel a cold coming on, he takes many shots throughout the day of a mix of oregano oil, parsley, turmeric, ginger, cayenne, and lemon. Can I get this recipe along with the volume of each ingredient? Thanks, Michael or Michel or Michel. So yes, it's simply called fire cider, or fire tonic. I prefer the fire cider. Posted it on Instagram. If you don't follow along on Instagram, I definitely invite you to head on over to Stephen Cabral. And my name, Stephen, is with a PH. So I post a lot in my stories, the different products that I use. So it's a great product. You can actually, go to stephencabral.com/podcast and type in fire cider, and you'll see it right there. Then you don't need to make it yourself all the time because, believe me, if you walked into my house, it would look like a natural health food store. You would see supplements on top of my counter, much to my wife's dismay. You would see them in my kind of pantry closet, and then you would see them underneath our island. I get half of that for supplements. It's not just for me. A lot of it's for me, that's for sure. Do I use them all? No, but it's my natural apothecary, which means that anytime one of my daughters have a cold or I have a cold or start to get run down, it's something for everything. Or a family member calls or a neighbor or someone at work. Whatever you need, I have it. Literally, I'm stocked. And I have extras. That's what it's there for, so you don't run out. If you don't have things when you need them, well, it's not going to work. So that's why, I keep these things in stock. So one of the products is just called Fire Cider, and it's literally horseradish and onion and garlic, and it has cayenne in it, which is one of the major ingredients that it must have in order to help with any type of strep bacteria in the throat or congestion-based issues, post-nasal drip, and apple cider vinegar. So check that out, Fire Cider. All right, Renee is up next. Hi from Houston. I've learned so much from your podcast for my entire family. Thank you for being such a blessing to us all. Appreciate that. I've had 2 C-sections 13 to 10 years ago. I got scar tissue inside from it. My doctor did not recommend any more children due to how much scar tissue I had. I can still feel tenderness all these years later. I'm pretty fit. I work out 5 days a week and lift moderate. I also participate in intermittent fasting. I'm assuming that's what you mean by IF. Do you think that scar tissue could be the reason it's so hard to get rid of this pooch under my belly? Any advice will help. Warm regards. Okay, great question. So a couple things. One is you can absolutely help to break down scar tissue. So I do agree that when you've had an incision, that the tissue will be more callous. However, through some really great massage, you can begin to break up, soften, regenerate that scar tissue. You absolutely can. I tore my brachioradialis when I was almost 22 years old. I used to do some pretty heavy lifting back then. I was doing natural bodybuilding. I was getting ready that I was going to do a competition, and I tore it actually doing a lat pull down. If you saw me back then, you wouldn't recognize me, today, but it was fun though. I mean, I was in college and I was trying to do what I could with my body. I couldn't heal my health. So what I did was work on my body, and it got me through for sure. It was a really great thing. And that's why I'll always be a fan. I'm a fan of bodybuilding, to be honest with you. Not a fan of anabolic steroid use or, pushing your body past its limits. I'm not a fan of that, but I am a fan of using that when sometimes it's your escape. You go to the gym, that's your way out for a little while. And it was for me for many years. And I love it to this day, to be honest, I love it. So you can definitely break up the scar tissue. Okay. What else can I tell you though? The pooch, we're talking about belly fat underneath your belly, is not from the scar tissue. So the scar tissue that you're having from a C-section is going to be more near the oblique. Okay. Underneath the belly button, I'm assuming that's not where the incision was, but you correct me if I'm wrong. And what we're going to say about that is just accumulation of belly fat around the belly button typically. Now, it can be from inflammation and water retention from gut issues. We see that all the time, or simply sensitivities, food sensitivities. So you can run an IgG food sensitivity test. That would be great. You can run an organic acids test. You can run a stool test. You could run any one of those. And then you also want to make sure that your blood sugar levels are under control. They certainly seem like they are. So I would just do a little bit more to see what's going on. I mean, you could do this. You could do a 7, 14, or 21-day detox. And if that area dramatically goes down, well, then we're really just talking about an inflammation-based issue, because the detox, our functional medicine detox that I affectionately call just the Dr. Ball detox, it works on that. So it's not just about burning body fat or losing body fat. It's about balancing hormones, blood sugar, inflammation to healthy levels. And so I would check that out as well. Okay, Judy is up next. Let's see what Judy's asking. Hi, Dr. Brawl. I worked with one of your health coaches after the thyroid adrenal test, and I'm also wrapping up a protocol from the HTMA and organic acid test. I'm also continuing with your daily nutritional support shakes. My question is, I purchased a sauna that you recommended, and I have been experiencing migraines. The only time I ever get migraines are when I'm dehydrated, and very seldom. I use the sauna 2 days in a row for about 25 minutes, and then by the second day, I experience a headache that took 2 days to go away with no meds and lots of lemon, salt water, and coconut water from an actual coconut. Thinking maybe my hydration was not enough, I hydrated well for a couple days before doing a shorter session. I didn't sweat very long. The next day, I started to get headaches again. I really want to experience the benefit of sauna. What can I do to prevent the headaches? I'm 5'4.5", 120, blood pressure about 116/64. I work out regularly. Any suggestions? Okay, yeah, absolutely, I can help with this. I mean, because we don't know exactly what it is. Could be a Herxheimer reaction. What if you are releasing larger amounts of heavy metals. That's a possibility. I'm not leaning that way. Kind of my intuition, my gut's telling me right now that this is a heat-based issue. I wonder if you get headaches when you're out in the sun for a while, or you start to get hot in general. Because what happens is, with that heat, we can get a vasodilation. We can get an opening up, which might allow for greater blood flow to the head. So if you start to get that headache right away, put ice on your neck, ice pack on neck, and over the head, the forehead, and a heat pack on your feet. Draw the blood away from the head, constriction, and then towards the feet. That's an old school remedy for migraines. Now, what I want you to do is adapt your body to the sauna. So the Therasage one that we're talking about, if people don't know what I'm talking about, go to stevencabral.com/podcasts and simply type in IFR sauna. You'll see previous podcasts on saunas, and you'll see the recommended one that I've recommended for a lot of people. That's great because your head gets to be outside of the sauna, and it's less than $1,000, where most saunas are $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $8,000, like the one I had at my wellness center. So, okay, here's what you need to do. You can open up the back pocket where you have the thermostat for the Therasage. I want you to use it just for 10 minutes, and I want you to turn the temperature down from 150, which is the default, to 120 or so. And I only want you to use it for 10 minutes. That's it. I know it won't seem like a lot. That's okay. No big deal. And then if that works, great, we'll try it again. And if that works, great. Then what we'll do is we'll increase it to 15 minutes, still the same temperature. If that works, great. Then we'll do 20 minutes. If that works, great. Then we'll do 25. That's it, or 20 minutes. And then we'll slowly increase the temperature. Build up a tolerance to it. If you've not done a Dr. Ball detox yet, or just a functional medicine detox, I would do that. And if you have not done a heavy metal detox yet, I would probably do that, to be honest with you. I would look into that. All right. Judy, hopefully that helps. I know you'll be able to figure this out without a doubt. A little bit of trial and error, you'll be able to get it. You always will. All right. Maria, how can I just didn't know that was Maria? Mariya. Maria, of course. That's Maria, right? It's just an extra Y in there. That's all. It says, hi, I've been listening to your podcast the last few weeks and I've been enjoying it. I really like your approach. I want to do some tests with you guys for my hair loss, but I don't know where to start. I've gone from long, thick hair to really thin, dry hair in the last year and a half, and I can't seem to figure out the reason. I've done some blood work, and the only thing I found out was my low ferritin. I've been supplementing iron and vitamin C for almost 3 months. Noticed an increase in my energy and improvement in my long-distance trail runs. No longer have to take naps after work. I'm very active. I teach fitness classes, do aerial work, and trail run. I'm a 28-year-old female. Even though I've been feeling great after taking my iron supplements, I still losing a crazy amount of hair throughout the day. Do you guys run any tests that could explain the hair loss? Any suggestions or guidance to your programs would be greatly appreciated. Sure, we'd be happy to help. My recommendation is this. Well, let me do them in order of importance, okay? So again, always great to run a food sensitivity test, always great to run an omega-3 test. But let me give you the most important ones for the bang for your buck. Thyroid adrenal hormone, no doubt about it. That's number one. Why? Low thyroid or hyperthyroid, known as Graves' disease, can cause hair loss. So low thyroid or high thyroid can cause hair loss. And same with the thinning and dry hair and skin. So I would definitely look into that. Now, high cortisol can also cause hair loss in both men and women. So I love that lab test for you. I want to look into that. I want to look into the vitamin D, which is on that lab too. After that, I would like you to run what's called a hair tissue mineral analysis. Not that it will look at your hair and say, oh, it's dry and all that. No, it will look at the minerals. And it will also look at oxidative stress through potential toxic metal overload. So high levels of aluminum or mercury or lead, any of those things can cause oxidative damage, basically rusting, breaking down, and that can affect the proteins. I also want to make sure you are not overdoing your exercise and that you're not on a low protein diet. If you're on a low protein diet, you can actually lose hair. Why? Because your hair is made up of protein. What I would like you to do is I would like you to look at, if you can't afford the lab testing or whatever it might be, go right into our foundational protocol level 3 and add collagen, advanced collagen support to that. I would also like you to add, because it's not expensive, the balanced zinc. And you're going to just do 1 capsule at dinner. That's it. Keep going with your vitamin C. Okay. I recommend you can do the full spectrum vitamin C or the alkalizing vitamin C, and the recommendations I just gave you. So lab test or dive right into the nutrients and the protocols. All right? All right. Always good to figure out the why, though. So Tracy's up next. Hi, Dr. Brawl. A friend of mine who suffers from anxiety and depression recently sent me information for a device called the Alpha-Stim Cranial Electrotherapy Stimulator. She said it works wonders for her. All right. Since she also struggles with depression and anxiety, I'm interested but would like your opinion on it first. Have you had experience with this modality? What do you think of the science behind it? Is it safe? As always, thank you for the amazing work that you do. I have not heard of it before, so why don't I look up the Alpha-Stim, whatever it's called. Okay, so let's do just a real world look up real quick. I won't be able to do a 10-minute overview. I don't know what it is. I can guarantee you it's not the first place I would start. I'll tell you why in a moment. Okay, so it's electrotherapy stimulation, and it uses low-level electrical current to safely and effectively treat anxiety, depression, and insomnia. Okay. Let's see. Stim. Looks like a TENS unit to me that you would use in like physical therapy. It has the electrodes. It has the why. It has clinical research behind it. I'm not against it. I don't know anything about it, to be honest with you. But here's why it's not my first place to start, no matter what. So these things I think are great adjuncts. Like, meaning that, so if someone comes to me with anxiety and depression, I think acupuncture is great. I think light massage is great. I think Tai Chi. I think meditation. I think all of these things are great. But for me, I need to look at the clinical data of what can cause anxiety and depression. I need to look at neurotransmitters. I need to look at B vitamin levels, vitamin C, zinc, magnesium, other cofactors. And if we're missing those, and those are the imbalances, no matter how much you do of the other adjuncts, like acupuncture, meditation, they'll help. There's no doubt about it. And I love them. So don't get me wrong. Like, I love acupuncture and acupuncturist. I love craniosacral therapy. I love all these things. They're all amazing. But, and I know that craniosacral therapy is not the electrotherapy. I just want to state that. But I'm a root cause person. And the root cause of someone's anxiety and depression is not a lack of that stimulation of the brain. Now, I agree actually that will help because some of the brain centers might not be as stimulated as much. But why? Is it a lack of tyrosine? Is it a lack of serotonin? Is it a lack of acetylcholine? Is it a lack of GABA? Is it a lack of adrenaline, or norepinephrine? What is it a lack of? Or what's it too much of? Or what was it too much of in the past that now has you burnt out today? That's what I do. That's what my practice is all about. So I'm not against these devices. I love them and use them. Again, I use saunas and I use dry brushing and I use rebounders. I use all of these things. They're all great. But I certainly want my liver to be the main thing that's detoxifying my body. Not a rebounder, not a dry brush, and not even a sauna. Because my liver is what I have every second of the day. So I hope that makes sense, Tracy. And for a friend that suffers from anxiety and depression, well, first off, there's so many there's great protocols to start with. You can even start to use things such as magnesium and zinc at night and an activated B complex at lunch. And again, the whole daily foundational protocol that I use every day myself and that I recommend to others. So what if she's low or he is low on omega-3s? Right there, low EPA and DHA can lead to anxiety and depression. And another product that just helps immediately is CBD oil, right? So you can just go to stephencabral.com/CBD-store, and you can see those products over there, or you can, get whatever you recommend or believe in. That's it. But in terms of lab test, organic acids test, hair tissue mineral analysis, that's your starter kit. Great place to start. And of course, if possible, I would do the whole big five. All right, Tracy, that was it. Hopefully it helps. Ashanti is up next. Hey, Dr. Ball. That has been suffering from really skin for years now. Sometimes I think people just maybe voice text in. It happens to me all the time. I think it should say maybe, I've been suffering from maybe bad skin for years now. I went to see a dermatologist. They said there wasn't much they can do besides Cetaphil facial cleanser. I haven't heard of that since 1995. I didn't even know anybody used Cetaphil anymore. But dermatologists absolutely used to recommend that. I remember that, the mid-late 90s. I have acne, and the dermatologist is hey, use this Cetaphil. That's amazing. That brought back some memories right there. All right, after doing a little research, I'm guessing it could be more of a hormonal or gut issue. I am currently taking your daily nutritional support shake, adrenal soothe, daily digestive enzyme, natural calm, and I'll try liquid melatonin to try to help, or I'll use those to try to help. Do you have any suggestion of what's been going on? So for bad skin, I'm always looking at intestinal permeability. So I'm running organic acids test, food sensitivity test, stool test. I would do them in the order of organic acids test, stool test, then food sensitivity test. And then I would look at the thyroid adrenal hormone. Those would be the tests that I would run. And of course, I would use omega-3s. I would use the daily protocol, but I want to look to see if it is hormonal, high testosterone in women. Okay, I want to look at that. I want to look at estrogen dominance in women, especially as well. This is men and women. And then what else do I want to look at? Well, I want to look at stress levels for sure. I want to look at low vitamin D in skin for sure. I want to look at high sugar or hemoglobin A1C on that thyroid adrenal hormone test. For the gut test, I want to look at high levels of candida, of bacterial overgrowth, which can absolutely cause acne, especially like the Klebsiella, E. coli, C. diff, anything that's causing gut-based issues and inflammation. So that's what I would do, Ashanti, for sure. Now, you could also just start with the 21-day functional medicine detox to really give that liver some support, start to clean up the blood, and then we need to do some gut-based work. So even if you just do the candida bacterial overgrowth protocol with 3 weeks of the citricidal drops, great place to start. Then you do the CBO finisher to seal up that gut wall. So I will let you kind of enter the equation wherever you feel comfortable. That in a nutshell, like that's our consultation boiled down into 90 seconds. All right. Let's do one more question for today. Do we have time for one more question? We do. I'm suffering from debilitating piriformis-induced sciatica. I do not have a herniated disc. I also suffer from tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, plantar fasciitis, and I've had multiple cortisone shots in my shoulder. I have an active job, and this is beginning to affect my officer safety. So I believe you're a police officer. Got it. Due to financial reasons, I would like to capitalize on the 10% offer you have right now. I have listened to a few joint pain podcasts and need more guidance. Can you recommend which tests and protocols I need? Thank you. So, Anthony, you wrote in on 12/8. Just letting everyone know, it does say on that page, these will not be answered for about 12 weeks, just because there's hundreds of people who write in. And I can get to about 10 questions per show. So, Anthony, for sure, you have systemic inflammation. So all of your joints right now, we've got the elbows, right? Both sides, inner and outer for the tennis and golfer's elbow. We have plantar fasciitis, which for those who don't know, that's the bottom of the foot, the plantar tendon on the bottom of the foot. You also have piriformis, sounds like, some type of piriformis-based syndrome, which is inflaming the hip, which is then squeezing or pushing down on the sciatic nerve. So we need to work on a systemic inflammatory-based problem. There's either inflammatory foods you're eating, there's gut-based issues, there's a massive amount of stress. I don't know what you can do for labs. I would recommend the Big Five if you're able to. Let me go in order of importance, though. We're going to run labs, but we're going to run the organic acids test, hair tissue mineral analysis, thyroid adrenal hormone, omega-3, and then you could run the food sensitivity test, and if you're able to, the stool, of course. So that's just an order. And then I'm recommending right away a 21-day detox to drastically reduce this inflammation. And then we have to be careful with what you're doing for movement, exercise, etc., because these are all repetitive motion-based issues. But again, they're there because of some systemic inflammatory issue. So that's the place to start. Hopefully that helps, Anthony. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the Cabral HouseCalls each and every weekend. I truly appreciate your support. I appreciate your listens. I appreciate your reviews on iTunes and other podcast players. And of course, every time you share this with anyone else you believe it could help. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the weekend if you're listening on the weekend. And be sure to tune in tomorrow for our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Take care. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, The equal life difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests, or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.